Every Mac that has been released eventually comes of age and slows down. No matter how much time you may spend with it, the model that you choose, eventually this Mac will slow down as time progresses. Your Mac will begin to show signs of wear and tear, and you'll eventually end up with productivity issues. Does this sound a bit familiar to you? Well, I want to tell you today, you're not alone with this. Let's talk about a few things and get right into the video. So the video today is kind of like a part two to my previous video of why your computer is slow. I kind of wanted to tackle the reasons as to why, not only why it's slow, but what we can do to prevent it from slowing up. Let me make sure this is right. I think we're good. All right. Hi, my name is Brett. Thanks for joining us today. Today, I'd like to talk to you about a few simple solutions that you can apply to help increase productivity and also decrease the slowness of your Mac. So there are a few solutions that are simple, and I want to go over these simple solutions with you today. In an ideal world, we want to surf the internet, do work, jump back and forth between documents, listen to some music, get on Spotify, all of these different things. And please note, these are all tasks that eventually wear and tear on your Mac computer. Much of this activity could perhaps be the issue that your Mac is beginning to run slow. In the past, there was an iMac that I once owned. Well, I still own it today. I don't do much work or get much work done with it. This particular iMac, I knew the exact issue, the software that I was using. I could pinpoint that every time I opened this software, I would get issues and run into a litany of problems. I had to continuously shut down my computer, restart it, try to close the program. This is definitely not the most ideal situation you want to be caught in. I eventually found out what my issue was. My issue actually was that my Mac was not actually fast enough to handle the software that I was throwing at it. So believe me, this is not always the case, but you want to make sure that you check these few things that I'm about to go over with you before you decide to go out and purchase yet another Mac. There is a consistent reality that with Apple's updates of their operating system, eventually your Mac will phase out and become old. Just really quickly, everyone, I appreciate the comments and the commentary that you've left below. This comment today comes from Gary Williams. He says, this happened to me as well. He bought a 2015 Mac Sierra and it was just too slow. He was about to return it and he was obviously pissed, but I got over my feelings, was able to do a few tweaks. It's gotten better and I'm able to use it just a little bit. So we're getting there, but it's still pretty slow now that it's just sitting in his basement. Thank you for that comment, Gary. If you're like me, you may have had a big assignment or project to complete in the past. And whether it's for school or work, that really doesn't matter if and when you start having a problem with a slow Mac computer. I've had Macs in the past that were slow. The programs and the apps that I use, I eventually realized that these programs cause my Mac to slow down tremendously. I've done the obvious shutdown. I've restarted my computer. I've done it all. And for me, if this has not worked, I've had to resort for other options. Then there becomes the question of, why is my computer slow? Then also the bigger question becomes, how do I prevent my computer from becoming slow? First thing I want to tell you is when your Mac is slow or is not responding to your commands, you want to check and double check and make sure that you have the current operating system. For those who are not familiar with the current operating system, Apple's current operating system as of this date is Big Sur. And just for informational purpose, I'm currently on Catalina, the operating system. I generally try to stay within 1 to 2 operating systems behind Apple's current operating system. Apple's operating system talks back and forth with the software that you're using. And if your operating system is not up to date, the software will have a hard time communicating. For example, it's just like if I were to try to go back and use a Windows computer from 15 years ago. I'm pretty sure those computers are super slow. And the technology has changed over the years. Once you have checked your operating system, that is a clear, sure way to make sure that you are updated. So the second thing that may be slowing your computer down, this is very important. May I submit to you that your internal hard drive may be the culprit. Now, your hard drive is not just for storage space. Your Mac computer literally needs hard drive space for it to be able to boot up, as well as function when you're using your Mac computer. So what am I saying? If your hard drive is indeed full, that will begin to slow and lag your computer. And the hard drive needs a certain amount of free space for your computer to perform efficiently. For my computers that I use personally, I like to make sure that I have at least half of the hard drive empty. So for example, if I have a computer that has 500 gigs of space, of total space, then I only want to use 250, which is half of the 500 gigs. As you're uploading software, as you're uploading or downloading files, over time, this space is going to become less and less. So I would go to your hard drive and check how much space is available on your computer. Speaking of hard drive space, there's a place on your computer that houses all of your downloads. Every single download is held in this place called downloads. From the day you've purchased this computer, each download has been stored in this location. You can find it under downloads. You should be able to delete these downloads. What that will do is that will actually free up some space for your hard drive, and you'll get some space back. If you know you're going to be using a lot of hard drive space, go ahead and purchase you an external hard drive. You'll probably need this anyway, just to back up your files. Here's my third piece of advice. Get rid of the clutter. What are you talking about? Yes, there's clutter on your Mac, but there's also the clutter that sits right in front of your face. You're looking at it on your desktop. If you do not take the time to organize your files, you may not see it now, but your computer is going to begin to be slow and more slow and more slow. So just make sure that you're naming your files, that you're organizing them. There are not too many folders on your desktop. I know as we work throughout the day, we have a lot of files that we're dragging and dropping from the internet, from downloads, from new software. But at the end of the day, you want to make sure that all of those files are in a organized folder. I probably have maybe a max of 10 folders on my desktop. Everything else is either in under the applications folder or the documents folder on my MacBook. The fourth thing, I explained this in my last video. I'm going to double back and restate this because this is very important. The fourth thing is, if you are working on your computer, make sure that all of the files and all of the programs you are not using, make sure all of those programs are closed. All of these apps that you have opened throughout the day, if you do not physically close them, this can cause your computer to lag. There's what we call the activity monitor, which literally monitors the activity of your computer. All of the programs on your computer, you can access this activity monitor here. This app will actually show you the files on your computer or the software on your computer that is running, even though you're not using it. In most cases, we're only using 1 or 2 programs at a time. But what I like to do is just close all of the programs that are irrelevant to what I'm working on. Number 5, this one hurt me a little bit because I use this one. Everyone uses this. Google Chrome. Do you know that Google Chrome actually causes your Mac to be sluggish and slow? Yes, I'm talking about just a mere search engine on your internet. The Backup and Sync app, it does exactly what it is. It backs up your computer files or your internet files that you've used. So as you are working throughout the day, there are certain timestamps that it's able to sync in your programs or your search engines, what you've searched throughout the day, what you've downloaded. The Google Chrome app is the hidden thief of your computer's efficiency. Who's going to tell you this? Who's going to give you this information? You mean to tell me the internet, what we use every day, we use consistently, it's actually causing our computer to be slow? Please remember, overall, your Mac is a machine, and you can prevent these things from happening when you first purchase it. We're talking about slow Macs today, but be careful of those newer models. Apple is releasing these newer models that are sleek, they're slim, they look colorful, but where you're losing value is on the interior or the inside parts of the Mac, such as your RAM and your CPU. I have seen Macs that are brand new, their operating system has been updated, and the Mac takes a dive in the productivity department. With all of these updates and computers acting slow, Apple is gently nudging us to purchase newer products. What I think would benefit you is if you would go back and actually watch my previous video on slow Macs and what Apple doesn't tell you about MacBook purchases. Please go and check that video out when you get a chance. If you can be sure to apply all of these principles, it may very well be a chance that you can save your slow Mac.